Okay, so in this beginning video here, where we start, something happened last night that I want to tell you about that was scary for me. I was like, oh, am I going to do my? I'm going to have to work one-handed and with my other hand in ice water, because I was having a good day, and it was smoky here, and so we were inside. I did run in the morning, but Jen was working on a bunch of admin stuff that she had to get done this weekend. And so I was like manning the little guys, and we were having a good time. And I had the instructions on how to make our gluten-free pizza. And so I'm doing all this stuff, and I was in a good spot. Sometimes when you have an accident, it's like, if you were thinking something negative or something bad was going on, but it was like, it was all good. And, but here's one tip. I was trying to do two things. So I was going to the highlights of the NFL, the football, and watching some of the games of the Seahawks and then the Dallas Cowboys later, but I was in the middle of the Seahawks. And but it was like 10-minute recording of the highlights. And so I would like watch it a little bit and then come back and check my pizzas. And then I burned myself really, really bad. Because I knew this frying pan that had been in the oven was hot, 450 degrees, but I was going to like flip it, and I was going to go back and watch the next few minutes of the highlights, and I just grabbed it, and I was like, and it was burning. My hand looked like a little hot dog that had been seared. And so I stuck it in ice water, and I was keeping it there like, okay, but I would take it out, and within a few seconds, it hurt so bad. I mean, really bad. And I thought it was blistering up, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I'm gonna have to go see some professional medical person on this thing or what? But I was like, okay, just keep icing it. So hours are going by, and now, Jen finished up the pizzas, but I had my hand in ice water, and then I would take it out, and it would just, within a second, it hurt so bad. So it was back and forth. And then nighttime came, and it was, 10 o'clock at night. And I thought, well, I'm going to just sit up with ice water and try to sleep on the couch. And, I thought, well, I'll go lay in bed. And Jen was working late, and the little guys were asleep. And so I was like sitting there with my hand in ice water, and I would take it out every while, and just hurt so bad. So there I was, like going through the night like that. And I thought, well, I could do the session in my sessions today with my hand in ice water and hit the keyboard like this. But I was concerned. I was like, oh my God. So then partway through the night somewhere, I took it out, and it didn't hurt so bad for a longer period of time. And then it hurt. I thought, I'm gonna just like tough it out and see what happens. And I was kind of worried because it was dark, and I thought, is it getting bad? Because it felt like it was really burning hard. So I just left it there, and it went through some cycles. And at some point I fell asleep, and I woke up this morning, and my arm is a little sore from holding it, I think, but my fingers are okay. So I'm like, oh, okay, I made it. I'm like, I was like, oh my God, is this going to just keep hurting for a long time? It's like, how bad is it in there? And so what came to me is this, and a couple things. First, some things that have been coming to me for quite a while that I'll tell you about, and then one small thing about accidents. So, I've told people before, one way that I got over having accidents, I used to have lots of accidents, was to write down 25 ways that control is good. You got to control your hair, you got to control your bank account, you got to control, the stoplights are good, 25 ways that control is good. Bad control is bad, an abusive person controlling you. But when I wrote down all these ways that control is good, I quit having accidents. But and I was tuning into this one accident, and Jen was like, well, sometimes accidents are just accidents. But I think this is what happened was, I was trying to do two things at one time. I was, flipping my attention between this football and then a new task that I hadn't ever made pizzas like this. It's like you automatically see a frying pan, you think of grabbing the handle. But I knew intellectually that this frying pan had been in an oven, and it had just like touched a little bit of it before, and I was like, but something automatic just was like, my mind was occupied with two different tasks, and I just grabbed it. So one thing is possibly like just to do one thing at a time, even if it's just for the next, minute, and then do one thing at a time. And this double tasking thing is like a fallacy, I think. I don't think people can double task and do a good job at anything. That's my own personal belief. I think it's like, do one thing, do it really well, do what's important, and then do the next thing. And then, go back and forth. And of course, do the important stuff to completion. So a lot of stuff in here, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So to complete things, but so that happened to me last night. So here's the session for today to start with, because what happens years ago, I was taking Qigong from Ming Gu, and it was a 3-day class at UCSD, and my teacher and friend Kim Burnham was there, the person that told me to take Matrix Energetics, and Jen was there, and I just found out that my office manager and my PR and marketing person in San Diego they stole money. They wrote extra checks and told me, hey, Ralph, the checks didn't go through for payroll. Can you write more checks? And they knew I was really busy and distracted and only had one thing in mind, which was this healing stuff. And so they stole money. And so I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? And so I ended up getting rid of them. But I was in this big, what I call a pattern interrupt. And some might call it a call to action. So like, The Hobbit, you're going along and life is okay. It's like, this is good. I had a practice. I had money. I had a mission. I had good people around me. And then it went, and it was the beginning of some weird stuff like Medicare didn't pay me for a year, and just a lot of stuff. My health then went weird. So I was in a pattern interrupt, like, stop. You're gonna do something else, Ralph. Let's reset things. You're being called into a different task, a different path, like the Hobbit. And so when I went to Whole Foods at lunchtime in Qigong, I remember there was these things called enchiladas. It's a type of Mexican food in the Southwest and in Mexico. And the plate of enchiladas was like kind of just like the last pieces. And my friend Kim knew I wanted them, and she says, aren't you going to get some? And I said, no, I want the whole enchilada. And I knew instantly that I had just said something really important to myself, that I didn't want just a partial thing, a partial life. I wanted the whole enchilada. And I knew I had said that. And I was in Qigong with Ming Gu, and I was starting this path, and a bunch of stuff was starting to crumble. So what I've noticed with this, and it seems to be just the way it is, I guess God likes really good movies, because if everything just happened and you were just like, you're born and you're born into a good family, and you everything's wonderful, and then you find the love of your life, and then you live and you make money and you have a good time, and then you have vacations, and then you pass away. It's like pretty boring movie. I don't know why God likes this kind of thing, or the universe, but it seems like the people that are to do something big, there's a point in time when we're called to action. And the call to action can look devastating. Like, are you effing kidding me? This accident, this thing, this divorce, this health problem, everything just fell apart. This doesn't feel like part of the plan, but it's like this call to action is when things start to move. Like, I always wanted to live in the Pacific Northwest, but I had a beautiful practice in San Diego, and a beautiful home, beautiful car, great wife. It's like great friends. It was hard to think of, how am I going to do this? Am I going to just make a lot more money and just have an extra place in Vancouver, which is where I thought I wanted to be? And but the universe was like, no, we'll do it this way. Let's just wipe the slate clean and then get you moving. And so so that was the thing. Now, the thing that I want to talk about today is, and tune us all into, is one thing along this path. I was like, what's the one thing that really moves the needle, that helps people on this call to action, when you're being called to something greater, when like you might have a lot of challenges, but there's something that you're doing, something big. One of the things that I think is the most powerful is your environment, the people you're around. Because if you're around the people, somebody knows how to do what you want to do. Somebody can help you with what you want, and the group can help you. Now, there's a lot of haters in the world, and there's a lot of negative people, and there's a lot of people that criticize and complain and judge and blame. And so if who we're around, I think really, really, really matters, really matters. And so we've got a great group. And so I've got a whole bunch of this way of going down this path and seeing what you're here to do. It's getting even clearer. And I wrote it up into a framework. I'm putting it together today. I've got time. And I'm going to look at like, where are you stuck? Where is something not working? Where is it? Health? Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it just life purpose? Is like, where are you stuck? And then we're going to help you get there. And we've got a group. And so what we've got is, I think, maybe also the most important part is the inner stuff. So if you've got a group and you've got people that know how to do different parts of this thing, and you're working on this inner stuff, I don't think there's a problem. We're going to get where you want to go. That's my own thinking on it. So we're here to do the inner stuff, and we're also here to be a group and keep tuning us in as we're all going up like this, and it's doing this kind of thing. And sometimes you're like down here. And so you just need people that are like, hey, yeah, come on, hey, let's do it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm back. And so that's what we're up to. We're going to clear the inner stuff. And what you can do now is just think about like, who are your people? Who are you going to surround yourself with? Yeah. What's really important to you? Because you can do a lot by yourself. But the people that do big things, they have a group, because you can't do everything well. And some things you like to do, but they're not your thing. They're not like the thing that really just makes your heart sing. So what makes your heart sing? And who can you have around you that has some of the other pieces? And then we've got this group to clear all this inner stuff. So you can find your people, you can do what you're here to do, you can have that whole enchilada thing. Because when we have these challenges, I think it's a call to action. And then I woke up this morning and my fingers were okay. So it's like, it was cool. I was like, oh, thank you, God. You're talking about being grateful. So I'm going to